Good morning and welcome to the Courage Coalition. Today's topic is fear in action. How sometimes going backwards is the only way to go forwards. And as you know, at this point, all the topics that I bring up are based on my own story, my own journey, and how they have been these moments of awakening, of coming back to who I am. Getting clarity and flow in growth and business and life. And so when I have these moments, I want to share them with you. And so today is just that fear in action. And the reason it came up is this. I have this deep desire to do really brave things. And so many people are like, oh, you do, Corey, you do so many brave things. But the truth is, I actually let a lot of things, let fear guide me, and I don't do them. I let fear direct me versus taking a hold of that fear and walking with it. Because here's the thing is anytime we do anything different in life, in business, whatever it is, there is going to be fear. And if you say there isn't, you're a liar. Sorry, not sorry. But it's the truth, because when we step outside of what we know, our comfort zone, there is fear. It's a part of us as humans. Remember the survival mechanisms that created us or kept us safe in all those years is there for a reason. We just don't have the same risks today that we used to have. Going outside of the cave no longer means you could be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. But that fear that is born in us keeps us from doing things that are on our heart and minds. And so for years, I lived in a safety net, a safety zone. And I don't think most people understood that or understand that to this day. They thought, but you were so brave. You did foster care for 13 years and you stepped outside of the comfort zone of knowing if you were going to lose the child or what that child's journey was going to look like. But that actually wasn't fearful for me. That felt very safe. And yes, it was really, really hard, but it was still safe. And I know that for a lot of people, that's not going to be understandable. And that's okay, because that is my truth. I knew what I could do. I knew my capacity in that. And so it was safe. Selling everything, moving to Montana, and starting over and having no idea if we could make it work financially, business-wise, or like that. Everyone's like, that was so brave. I will honestly sit here and say there was very little fear in that decision. Again, that was my safety zone. As long as I had my family, I can do anything. I can make anything work. That is a part of my personality. That may not be anywhere near your personality. But I have lived with no money. I have lived with lots of money. That didn't feel fearful to me. I knew what I was capable of. And I also knew that money or like, what do I say? Like materialistic things did not define me. And so I knew that as long as I could cover the basic expenses, which we knew we could do, I was safe. It wasn't like I was walking into $0. I knew what I had. And I knew that within that budget, I could live. And then the why the goal would be to grow so we could go back to living in a way that really aligned with our values. So it was still safe. And I think that sometimes we kid ourselves. We kid ourselves to believing that we are being brave and we're stepping into something with fear. When in reality, we're not. We're actually just still living in that comfort zone. And another example is the foundation. And even though I will say I actually did have to hold fear's hand here, and I still have to hold fear's hand here, it's not in the way that you think. It's not like you're beside yourself. I'm beside myself every time we have to make a decision. It's like, okay, I can do this because I've built this courage gene. I've built this ability to say, you know what? No, I can do this. It may not be perfect because I've definitely stepped out of perfection in the last 10 years, 15 years. I don't care about what it looks like anymore. I just truly believe that my job is to walk forth in it. And so that part, yes, that was easy. There is still fear of being seen, fear of what others will think. I'm not going to lie, like some of that comes in, and those old beliefs and stories come in. And so that's where I've had to really walk in fear in that situation. But the fear did not overrule the comfort zone. I know how to start things. I know how to create systems. I know how to go on and on. That's my strength. So the comfort zone is still really strong in that situation. And so recently I have a dear friend who is she's just a firecracker, let's be honest. And she base jumped and she did it all on social media. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. And then the fear came. The fear came really big. Like, looks cool, good for everybody else, but not for Corey. And you know what I remember? I remember being really young, 12, 13, and having this dream to someday um, jump out of a plane, parachute. And when I had my first child, I immediately was like, nope, don't want to do that anymore. Absolutely not. And I know why is because now my job was to protect him. And if I died, something would happen, right? What would happen to him? But I allowed that to continue to fuel me and feed me. And that you have to stay safe physically in order to be responsible. You have to stay safe physically in order to be X. You have to stay safe physically. But here's the reality. I am more likely to die in a car accident tomorrow than I am to die in those things. And that is that fear. Because I've told myself, you can't do this. It's too scary. Because here's the thing, even though I kind of want to do it, the fear is so big. Like my heart feels heavy, my limbs feel heavy. And will I do it? I have no idea. I'm not making any promises. I'm not sitting up here and talking this through as a challenge. I am asking myself some really deep questions. Is this fear going to rule you? Is this something you really, really want to do? And are you going to continue to allow it to create this resistance or this boundary or this absolute not? Or are you going to get curious about it and ask yourself what it looks like, how it involves your life and what it does? And for me, one of the things that really pushes me to grow is when I do something I don't know if I can do or not, right? In spite of fear. When I think about the hike this summer, when I walked into that, yes, I love to hike. And yes, I'm pretty good at hiking, but I'm not an expert. And I have never hiked 100 miles day in and day out. I've never done so many things that I did on that hike. And I grew so much because of it. And I know that. And I can see that. And I can be so grateful for that. And so I have to ask myself sometimes, when you step into something that's really scary, that feels really, really uncomfortable, what are you being taught? What is God putting this in your heart or your mind for? Why is He needing you to do this next thing? And so I'm going to ask you is where is fear controlling your life? Because it is in all of us in some places, somewhere. Jobs, relationships, money, health. There's nothing that it doesn't touch. And is there somewhere you must go backwards before you can go forwards? Is there somewhere in your life that you must go revisit a belief, a value, a fear in order to go forward? Because I believe that growth only happens when we take a step back for a second and look at what we've already done or where we're stuck or what that fear is that continually comes up. Are you afraid to be seen by asking the question or asking permission or asking for the stage? Is that your fear? Are you fearful of being safe? Are you fearful of not having what you need? There is nothing it will not touch, as I said. And so, where is fear stopping you? But also, where could you go backwards in order to go forward? So, until next time, you guys remember, download, share, and write a review. And I'll talk to you soon.